Welcome to this workshop on professional communication. First impressions matter, so you want to make sure that anytime you are conducting any kind of written communication with someone, and usually in this situation we're talking about employers, or even when you take this into your professional careers, when you're talking to coworkers or your boss or supervisors, it's always important for you to be thinking about your professional communication. If you do not communicate professionally, then you are, risking a lot. As a student looking for employment, hopefully internships and full-time jobs, if you are not communicating professionally, then you are showing that you have a lack of that skill. Written communication is actually one of the top competencies that employers are looking for you to have, including oral communication, but a lot of us don't think about written communication as being a skill. You may come across in the wrong way if you get too casual in your conversation, in your emails with employers, and a lot of times we can kind of lose sight of the fact that we are communicating professionally and it's not like a text, because a lot of us grew up with, I didn't, but a lot of us grew up with cell phones in our hands and text more than we do write emails. So we want to make sure that you are keeping in mind anytime you are communicating and conducting or composing an email that you want to make sure that you are professional. You're a lot more likely to get what you're asking for or what you're seeking when you stay professional in your communication. And you also want to make sure that, this could be your first impression of an employer's first communication with you might be this first impression. So you want to make sure that you are impressing them. And, in the future, this could mean loss of job opportunities or promotions. So that's why it's very important to stay professional. So we're going to go over 10 tips real quick here, starting with a meaningful subject line. So in your email, you always want to make sure that you do have a subject line. If you don't, then there's a chance that your email could get deleted. So keep in mind, you want to keep it short and sweet. Think about your intentions. What is this email about? You should summarize why you're contacting them. Just a brief summary of what the email is about in just a few words. Again, if you don't put anything at all, there's a chance that it could get deleted. But the subject line is your chance to start a professional email. Next, you want to make sure that you are addressing whoever you are talking to in the email appropriately. So keep in mind that we don't want to have any casual conversations such as hey, comma, and then you go into what you're needing. That is too casual, and which is fine for text, but not for professional communication. So you do need to address the person, and typically you could just go ahead and say, hi, Mrs. Pittman, okay, for example. Or if you are communicating with a professor and don't assume that they are a doctor. If you don't know, you can Google it. Not all professors have PhDs, so you don't want to just say Dr. Professor, because then you could be incorrect. So if you are not sure who you are addressing, you could just say Mr. or Mrs. And that works. If you are on a first name basis with someone, then it is okay for you to say hello, Jamie, comma. But you want to start the email with a correct opening. And you want to stay concise and to the point. Okay, so if you need to introduce yourself, like if you're just emailing someone, you need to introduce yourself and talk and briefly state what you are needing. Give a little bit of background if you need to, so that the person that's reading the email knows where you're coming from and what you're needing. So remind them who you are, give them a frame of reference to go on about what this email is about, but get to the point. Okay. You don't want to go on in an email. No one wants to read one huge big block of text, but you don't want to be so brief that the person reading your email has no idea what you're needing. Also think about the language you're using. You want to make sure that you use positive language, because that sets the tone of your email. And even though they can't hear what you're saying, they can construe a message based on the tone of how you are conducting and writing that email. Make it easy to read. So make sure that you're using proper grammar, spelling, be sure you use spell check. Set your settings in your email to spell check it before you send it. Always double check your email before you send it. So you need to reread it and make sure that you didn't leave out a word, repeat a word, or have any kind of grammar mistakes. Be sure and break it up into paragraph form. And, you know, depending on how much you have to say, you may not need more than one paragraph, but if you do have quite a bit to say, it's important to go ahead and break that up into paragraph form. Next, you want to be sure and avoid any type of slang. So again, choosing your words carefully. Do not use any type of emojis or emoji keystrokes within the email. That is not considered professional. You don't need any kind of color, just black text, and you don't need any crazy kind of script fonts or anything like that. So just your basic fonts, like think something you would use on a resume, that type of thing. And also watch the exclamation points. I know some people can get really excited and have a lot to say, and they're excited about what they're saying. And I'm not saying don't ever use exclamation points, but you want to make sure that they're appropriate, and you don't want to use an exclamation point after every sentence, which I have seen. So number 6 is be kind and thankful. Think about your tone. Again, how are you coming across? And if you're not sure, have someone else read it and see what they think. I've done this before too. I have had people go over an email, and if I wasn't sure what my tone was like, so that might help give you an idea. Make sure that you are requesting and not demanding, okay? So you don't want to come across as entitled, that you are expecting something from someone. So you're always using your choice of words, and again, I say tone, so that you are showing appreciation, that you are requesting something and not expecting something. Okay, also you need to be consistent. So let's say that you do start an email and it becomes an email chain where they email you back, you email them back. Don't lose focus on your professionalism. Okay, so there is, you know, you can get brief. If it begins to be more of a conversation, then it may be a little more brief, but that doesn't mean you need to stop the professionalism. Okay, so you don't have to address them every time. Hello, Jamie, comma. If you're in the middle of an email thread, you could just say Jamie, comma, and then you go on with what you need to say. Okay, but don't drop the professionalism. Just keep in mind that even if the person that you are emailing and talking to in an email thread or chain, even if they drop the professionalism, that doesn't mean you need to. Okay, just keep that in mind. So if you're not sure, definitely research, ask for help. There is tons of information online. You know, we have resources here in the Rawls. We have the Georgie Snyder for Business Communication. They can help you with writing. Obviously, our office, the Career Management Center. I have had students that need to email an employer and they're not sure what they should say. Just depends on the situation, and I will have them compose the email and then send it to me, and then let them know if there's anything they need to change. You can Google sample emails for different types of things, but there's always ask for help if you're not sure. Okay, be sure to reread the emails. Even short emails can have mistakes in them. It's easy to make mistakes, especially if you're typing very quickly, you're trying to get something done. But don't rely on spell check. You need to reread your email, because sometimes you could use a word that is spelled correctly, but you use the wrong word. So that's why you always want to reread your emails before you send them. I learned this the hard way, so take my advice and do that. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you have an appropriate signature or closing. Depending on what email service you are using, Outlook allows you to create a signature that will automatically, you know, you can put that signature in so that you don't have to copy and paste it every time. I think as a professional business student, it does look nice for you to create a signature. There's lots of different ways you can do this. You can create them in Outlook. I used a free service called canva.com. You can Google it. There's tons of things out there. What I do want to show you here is you can see the one with all the color and all the, you know, the picture and all the things going on for Rachel here. This one right here. This one is just, it's not necessary. There's too many colors going on. We don't need links to your social media. We don't need, all this stuff going on here. So something more basic right here is what we're looking for. That would look something more like a business card. And if you did want to include a photo, then you definitely want it to be something that would be like your professional headshot that you might have on your LinkedIn or something like that. And you can see there that on this last one that I do have a LinkedIn button here. So if you click, really, you can actually click anywhere in here and it takes you to my LinkedIn profile. So that one's nice as well. If you want to use this, something like that. Remember, in your closing, you always want to, before your signature, you want to close with something such as best, sincerely, regards, kindest regards, thank you, with gratitude, something like that, comma, and then your signature. Okay, so I hope this helps you when you are thinking about composing an email, and keeping in mind that you need to keep all of your communication as professional as possible.